Greeting my hoodoo boos. I know that this message is probably finna be a long one. I don't even know what I'm gonna title it until after I finish the message. So here's the thing. In this walk, I'm finna go ahead and get started. And again, I apologize for the length because I don't know. I just got some shit that need to come out of me that spirit say to tell y'all, and I have to obey. So let me go ahead and get started. I'm getting a lot of emails from people, men and women. Mostly men, to be honest with you. Mostly men. And I'm going to explain this in a minute, which is weird as hell to me, but whatever. Wanting spell work or spell work advice regarding romantic situations. Now, the situations that they're discussing from the man's point of view is this. They were with a woman for X amount of years, time, whatever, and the woman decided to leave them. She's moved on. Either she's with somebody new or she just don't want to be with him. She's happily single, whatever the case may be. And he wants spell work to get her back. That's Exhibit A. Exhibit B are men who were in with the woman for X amount of years, time, whatever. She's moved on because he was a douche and he wants spell work to get her back. There are some men that are even sending me descriptions talking about they thought that if they paid all the bills that gave them an entitlement to cheat, that they could either pay the bills or be faithful, but they not finna do both. Like literally motherfucker sent me that, right? So he feels like that because she moved on, she's did him wrong and he wants her to see the error in her ways. Please keep in mind that these women were faithful to these men, and they made the only mistake that they made was giving their loyalty to a motherfucker that didn't deserve it. They thought that they could cry, check phones, guilt trip a man into being faithful after they have caught him repeatedly doing fuck shit. They literally thought that. They thought by presenting the evidence that he's cheating with his ex or whatever, and they got the screenshots and the shit, and they done called the lady and blase, even brought the lady to the house and confronted him. They thought that if they appealed to the man's moral compass, that would provoke him to be faithful. No. I'm going to get to that in a minute. And then you have some women that just did men wrong. They were 100% wrong. They had a good dude and they just did him wrong. It happens, right? Then you have women on the other side who gave their all to a man and the man did them wrong. Then you have some women who just took advantage of a good dude and now he's moved on. It's like love shit, right? All kind of love shit. And they want spell work. They want spell work advice. They want me to do spell work. They want to know what can they do. So this message is for, I'm going to start with the men who had the good woman and thought that it was okay to maltreat her, mistreat her. And they didn't realize what they had until she up and left and moved on. I'm not finna help you get her back. I'm not. Because it shouldn't take you losing a woman in order for you to get your mind right. Let me give you an analogy because you know I like to teach with them. If you won the Powerball today and you had that valuable lottery ticket, you literally opened up your wallet, looked at the numbers you've been playing for years. Maybe it's your mama's birthday, your cat's birthday, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden you look at the news and that's your winning ticket. You literally just won hundreds of millions of dollars. Are you going to take that ticket and tape it to your front door and maybe, check on it in a week or whatever, or put it on the windshield of your car and check on it in a week to make sure that it's still there or a few days later? Nope. Are you going to take that ticket and toss it, behind the couch and think about it maybe 2 weeks later? Nope. You're going to take that ticket. You're going to be excited you won. You're going to take that ticket to the nearest lottery commission, whatever, and you're going to claim it. But before you get to the lottery commission, meaning if you win the Powerball on a Friday, you're going to make sure you secure that bitch all the way up until Monday. You're going to call out sick from work, whatever, and you're going to drive up there. I don't care if it's 6 hours, 12 hours away in your state. I think ours in California is in Sacramento. That's probably like an 8-hour drive, wherever it may be. And you're going to claim your ticket in person. You are not finna mail it. You're not finna trust no damn post office, whatever. You're going to do whatever it takes to secure, because the thought of somebody having something so valuable, something that's so rare, because motherfuckers don't win. They win the lottery every day, but the shit just don't happen. Like you can play the lottery every week for your whole life and you'll never win, or somebody could play once and win, whatever. It's like luck, right? The thought of somebody else claiming what's rightfully yours would make you fucking dizzy and sick to your stomach. Now, I said all that to say this. A lot of these men out here and women, both, take for granted when they have a loyal ass person riding with them. They take it for granted. They abuse them. They use them. They treat them. They treat them like the lottery ticket that's a winning ticket taped to the windshield. And then when somebody else come by and claim that prize, now they want to do shit to get them back. No, that's not how this works. You need to realize what you have before somebody else finds it. And that's the issue that I'm having right now with a lot of people sending up trying to commission me to do love work. Now, on the flip side, you have a lot of women who got done wrong, a lot of men too, people basically who got done wrong. For the sake of this discussion, I'm gonna say women. You got done hella wrong by dude. He did you dirty. You caught him cheating, you took him back. You caught him talking to your homegirl, you took him back. He stole money out your wallet, you took him back. He laid up on you for 2-3 years, didn't work, you took him back. And then all of a sudden something happened and you just got good and tired and you moved on. Now you're bitter. Now you're angry. Now you want revenge. And now you want to do spell work to make him see the fault in his ways. Because maybe he's with somebody new or maybe he's not. That part is irrelevant. And you want to do spell work so that he could see the fault and feel guilty how he treated you. Let me tell you why that bullshit is problematic and a waste of your damn time. A, why the hell do you need to tell a motherfucker how to treat you? When you first got with him, people oftentimes date their self-esteem level. Men date their self-esteem level. Women date their self-esteem level. Teenagers date their self-esteem level. That's why it's so important for you to raise your children with the balance of male and female energy, so you make sure that your son and your daughter have a healthy self-esteem before they start dating. Because if they don't, they're going to get their asses handed to them. Somebody who's a predator, whether it be an older person, male or female, because some of these women fucking teachers are fucking our kids. Oh, don't get me started. Older women that are targeting these young boys, older men that are targeting these young girls, they can see it and smell it on them. Now, a lot of people don't understand, like, well, how would he know my self-esteem level? Because they can smell it on you. I could talk to a dude within 3 minutes of having a conversation, 30 seconds of meeting him, I'll know where his self-esteem level, because you put off an energy. And if you meet somebody who has a self-esteem deficit, and you're out there seeking to feel that, you want that romantic relationship to fill that void inside you, you're going to have nothing but problems. You're going to set yourself up to get hurt. So no, I do not recommend you do spell work to make a person feel bad for how they treated you, to make a person feel aware or guilty or whatever, or get them back for how they treated you, because the only spell work you should be doing is spell work like love spells, self-love spells, and shadow work to address why you attracted that motherfucker in the first place. Because if your self-esteem was fine-tuned, if your self-esteem was high as it should be, you would have smelled his ass coming a mile away. You would have been walking down the street, saw all the red flags, and kept it on pushing and wouldn't have given him the time of day. If your self-esteem was where it was at. Your self-esteem wasn't where it's at, so your goggles were cloudy and you saw his ass through rose-colored goggles. You cannot date a person's potential. You cannot. I'm not saying don't give a person a chance if they're down. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if a person comes to you with sob story, excuse, whatever, you don't date them out of their trauma. They have to address that shit on their own. You can be their friend, but you don't get romantically involved with someone who has a whole lot of trauma. And secondly, what you need to do in regards to dating and spell work is when you sit up and you talk to somebody and you feel like that person is a potential mate for you, find out what their definition of love is and what they saw growing up. Let me give you an example. You meet dude, tall, got some shoulders and armage, you know, just how you like him, you know. You have a conversation with him and find out his upbringing. Find out what his examples of love were. His examples of love may be watching his daddy beat the shit out of his mama and watching his daddy cheat on his mama with her sisters and her cousins and all that shit. And that may be normalized in his head, but you need to find that shit out, because if that's the case, then that's somebody you need to walk the fuck away from, because he's not going to do nothing but bring that trauma into your relationship. If you meet a guy who did grow up like that, but he see that shit is really fucked up and he don't want to be, because when we grow up, we have we have two choices with the people in our families: aunties, uncles, parents, grandparents, etc., whatever the case may be. We can either grow up to be just like them, or we can grow up to be like, that's an example of some shit I don't want to be. One or the other, you know what I mean? A lot of people, like in my family, I grew up not really with role models, but seeing a lot of shit that I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to walk down that path. I see how, good it was for them. Peace to you, I love you, but that's not my method. That's, you go on that path. I see some shit down there that I just don't want to do, so I'm going to go over here. But there's a lot of people that grow up that don't have healthy examples of love. They don't have it, thus they don't know how to give it because they never were taught. So if you meet somebody like that, the first thing you're going to want to do because of your self-esteem deficit is to try to love them out of that trauma. And that's where you fucked up. And that's how you put your ass in a sling. And that's how you get your ass good and hurt. Because you're trying to give that person more of what they're telling you and showing you that they don't want or that they're not ready for. And that's devotion, loyalty, love, all that shit. Some people just simply aren't there. The most pathetic thing in the world, the most saddest thing in the world, and I need y'all teenagers and college students, young adults, 20-ish-ishes, to hear me out. Auntie been around the sun a few times. I'm not in my 20s. Hell no, I'm not there. But I done been around the sun more times than you, meaning I'm older, been, traveled around the sun. The one thing that's so pathetic, that's probably the saddest thing I've ever seen, is when you have somebody in their 30s and their 40s, and they done been around the sun 30 or 40 times, but they're still operating and making 20-year-old and 19-year-old and 15-year-old mistakes. When you travel around the sun, you do a self-reflection on your sun, your Earth Day, your birthday. Damn, have I grown this last year? Have I leveled up emotionally and developmentally and whatever? I see so many people walking around that still are still at 15 years around the sun and 20 years around the sun, but they've technically, like developmentally, they're at 15 and 20 years around the sun, but physically they're 50 years around the sun and 40 years. That's so sad. So people always sit up and try to tell these teenagers and these young adults, listen to your elders, but not all elders are created equal. Some elders are dumb as shit, and I'm saying it. I'm just keeping it a buck. They can't tell me nothing. And I show them respect because of the way I was raised and because of my principles in African spirituality. I will show them respect. See, showing somebody respect and actually having respect for a person is completely different. And people like to mix that up. I show you respect, meaning if you're a certain age, I'm not going to cuss around you. I'm going to show you the upbringing that my parents instilled in me. But me having respect for a person, that's birthed here and here. And that's not something my parents can make me do. That's not something that person can make me do, because there's a lot of people that are double my age that I have no respect for because they've been around the sun 60 and 70 times and they didn't learn shit. Literally, they still are operating like they're 15 years old. There is nothing more sadder than a grown-ass man that's in his 50s and 40s that don't have no stability, that's still sleeping on his mama's couch. You might be older than me, bruh, but you ain't learned nothing. Or a woman who's in her 50s and 60s still dealing with stupid-ass fuck shit that a 15-year-old would even know better than to walk away from. Because her self-esteem is still at the bottom and she's not leveled and learned how to level herself up. So she can see that shit coming, because once your self-esteem is fine-tuned, once that self-love work and that shadow work that you're doing is deep inside you, when you look over there to that person walking down the street and they coming towards you, you could be at a social, a social gathering or the supermarket or church, wherever it is you go, wherever it is you interact with people, and you will see them coming, and spirit will reveal to you after 5 minutes of conversation or 3 minutes of conversation or one text session, whatever the case may be, that you need to slide. You need to slide left. You need to swipe, because and the only way that that's going to happen is if you level up. Sometimes when you leave a toxic situation, you need to spend some time alone, learning you, loving you, addressing your shadow self. But if you so codependent on male attention or female attention, and you don't like being alone because you don't like yourself, You don't like you at all, so you need the validation of another person to make you feel. You are going to fuck up every time, and you're going to be that 50-year-old and 60-year-old and 40-year-old person still making 15-year-old mistakes. So for the people who send me these emails, asking how can I get revenge and make them feel bad, what does it matter how they feel? People know what the fuck they're doing. People know what they're doing. And it doesn't matter. It would be so pointless. It would be so pointless to waste your time and energy, because spell work take a lot of time and energy to put it into a person to make them have accountability for the fuck shit they're doing, when you can take that same time and energy and put it into you so that you can level up in your self-esteem and address your shadow self, so that your spells can pop all the more and you'll have more clarity in your spiritual journey. That's just my opinion. So I want you guys to remember that, okay? I know this is a long one. Me and Teresa will be going live soon. I'll let you guys know when, but I need you guys to please, if you don't remember nothing else I said in this video, don't waste time and energy. You're on people and their stupid shit. Just know that the cornerstone of your practice, if you are going to be an ethical practitioner, is self-esteem and self-love and shadow work. Because once you get that down, you will be warned, and it will save you so much time, so much grief. It's like if you're driving to a new address and you don't have a GPS system. Like back in the day, we didn't have one, you know what I mean? But now we have different routes we can take. That's the quickest way, to get from point A to point B. But if you literally don't have a clue in hell, you're dropped in a brand new city and you're given an address and told to go there, you'll be wandering around that city for a long time trying to find your way, when all you got to do is punch it into a GPS and spirit would direct you. But in order for you to do that, you got to learn, you got to know how to use the GPS, and you got to learn that first. So let's start from the beginning. Level up in your self-esteem, level up in your shadow work, so that you can be warned, so that when you do decide to make a choice for a romantic partner, you're not dating your self-esteem level and looking through bullshit goggles that don't work, because you're sitting up here trying to fill a void that wasn't filled for you during your childhood. You're trying to find that father figure or that mother figure that fucked you over when you were a child, subconsciously in this part of the brain, not here, because you don't, that's this part, no, but back here. You're trying to fill a void from your childhood that wasn't filled, and you don't even know you're doing it. And all of a sudden, if you really line up all your exes, you'll see that there's a pattern of behavior, and you wonder why you keep getting your heart broken. This is why, because you have unaddressed trauma that you have not addressed, because you're dating your self-esteem level and you have unresolved issues from your childhood. Fix it, babies, and you got the key to do it. I am the African Witch Bitch. Ashe.